Well, what's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. How have you guys been? Well, today I want to talk a little bit about what your first bike should be, or what kind of bike you should buy. And I was thinking about that like yesterday or the day before, and one of the main things you need to ask yourself is what you want out of the bike, like long-term use case. Are you going to be using it for hunting? Or are you going to be using it just to putt around your driveway or whatever, just going really slow? Or do you want like a hard-edged bike that you can take off-road and is more of a competition bike, like what I'm riding right now? But I can tell you right now, this bike would not be a good bike for hunting. In fact, it'd be a terrible bike for hunting. It's just too tall, and it's not really built to have the space that you would need. No space for giant racks. I'm sure you could put a rack on this thing. Granted, you could make this bike a hunting machine if you really wanted to. But that's not what this thing is designed for. It's designed to be top level. Just top level. It's like having a samurai sword. You know, you have to ask yourself, do you need a samurai sword if you don't plan on becoming a samurai? Because this thing is purpose built. It's very, very purpose built. And it's not running well right now at all. So with the question out of the way, what you want to use it for, because that's something that I think a lot of people don't really ask themselves. They may say, oh, well, I want to take it hunting, but I want it to do everything. I want it to be really good at everything. Now, you can't have the best of all worlds, really. You can get a utilitarian bike that's really good at doing those hunting trips, but it won't have crazy suspension. You know, it won't be a sharp-edged bike. And the bike I'm talking about is something like a TTR 225. That would be a good hunting bike, a really good hunting bike. Also, it's a really good starter bike. Just super durable. One of the cool things about that is you won't have to learn how to... Oh, there goes my front brake completely. You won't have to learn how to do the maintenance on it. I lost my front brake completely just now. Got pad on there. I don't see any liquid leaking out. But I do see that this is super low. See that?
Oh.
How did that happen? I don't see liquid anywhere.
I don't see any liquid at all.
But there's no brake.
There's no brake. Yeah, I think you're out of fluid, my friend.
Dude, I don't know how. I think the carburetor issue was a problem before I parked it, though, because I rebuilt the carburetor, and it's getting too much fuel in the mid-range. Well, I started talking about which bikes to buy, and I've got major malfunctions on my bike right now. I'm going to have to go back to mechanicking on this thing a little bit before I ride it. Anyways, so if you buy like a 4-stroke, that's what I would stick with, is a 4-stroke. Don't go 2-stroke, because 2-strokes are the hard-edged ones. How dare you? Just run it on air. Who needs fluid when you have air? Oh, man. Today is a wild day of riding because this bike has no front brake. Not much front brake anyways, just barely there. And the bike is running terrible on top and mid-range. So all I hear when I'm trying to climb is bleh, 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 bleh. And then all I hear when I'm going downhill is ah! As I scream for my life. Oh boy. At this point in the day, I have kind of learned where to keep the power on this bike in order to ride it, since it's running horribly. Snow goes flying. I had a little mishap with snow earlier today. Still stuck in the rims. My phone dropped. I just felt it. This thing is running like complete crap. A lot of people want a hunting bike. And in that case, you're definitely going to want to get a 4-stroke. But you're going to want to get a trail 4-stroke. Yeah, a trail 4-stroke, something like a TTR 225, really low to the ground, low maintenance, so you don't have to worry about constantly doing maintenance on the thing, because that's a big deal. I almost fell, not gonna lie. Was not ready for snow. Honda makes some good ones, like the CRF 250L, I think it is. Low to the ground. Their older models are called the XR line. The XR 200 would be great. The XT 200. And if you want to go a little bit more dual purpose, like make it street legal, but not fast enough really to do highway speeds, you can get yourself an XT 250. And those little tiny dual sports are still good. Good for fire roads. So if you're hunting, I would recommend getting something like that. Just a bulletproof little 4-stroke. Now if you want a hard-edged bike, like the one I'm riding right now, it's not going to be good for hunting or anything like that, for sure. It's not made to have any heavy cargo. It's really sharp-edged bike. It's kind of like for those of us who are enthusiasts, and if you want to be an enthusiast by all means, but oh, okay. So next intersection, we'll take a so. These two-strokes are really great trail bikes, but they are hard-edged. They're high off the ground. They give you good clearance. They have a lot of travel on the suspension, which is designed for more advanced riding. So I got to get my buddy here. And these bikes are great for crawling around up in the mountains for advanced riding, but they aren't good for doing it if you're carrying a load, if you're trying to carry a deer out of here, an elk, stuff. These bikes aren't good. You got to get something low to the ground, easy to work on, because if you get something like this, you always have to work on it. You got to keep that in mind. You've always got to keep an eye on these things, and they're high maintenance compared to the good old trusty basic 4-stroke. Unfortunately, there's nothing that can do everything really well. You've got race 4-strokes, which are the last thing you want out here. You're gonna flame out, you're going to be just cussing at your bike every 2 seconds. It's just not going to be a real good time. So, yeah, the answer for the hunting world is a 4-stroke, but don't get a racing 4-stroke. Don't get something that's tall. TTR 225 is good. XR 200, XT 200, Kawasaki even makes some stuff. I am getting to where I can ride the bike the way it is, no brake and no power. But I'm getting it to where I'm keeping it right at the same power, just like.
Well, this is a freaking awesome downhill, so
yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. And anyways, for people who are looking for a starter bike who want to become enthusiasts, you have to also keep in mind what it means to become an enthusiast. And that means being able to work on your bike a little bit. So you're gonna have to do some work for sure. And so be willing to learn all that stuff. So you're gonna have to change filters constantly. You're gonna have to do a lot of stuff, really. There's gonna be things that come up constantly. Brake pads and plugs and all that stuff. So, if you really do want to become an enthusiast, there are good beginner bikes out there. I would say that the little bikes, the little 125s, aren't necessarily the best beginner bikes, although they are lightweight and they will teach you how to ride really well, because you have to be up where it makes power or you're not going anywhere. Keep in mind I have no front brake right now, so this sucks. Heavy on the rear brake, which makes me worry about that rear brake starting to fade. Yeah, my front brake isn't doing anything. Shoot. Ugh. And my engine died because it runs like crap. So the reason this thing runs poorly is because I rebuilt the carburetor, and I have not adjusted the carburetor after the rebuild. So like, there's a lot of stuff in there that's brand new, and it changed the jetting somehow. So I'm getting more fuel than I was before. I mean, I can barely ride this bike right now the way it is. I can barely keep from crashing. It's got very little horsepower in the mid-range, and it dies constantly. My left grip is coming off because I didn't tighten it enough. I did switch out the grips when I parked it. Another one I get a lot is people who want a bike that can go on and off-road. What I would recommend is staying off-road for at least a year and just ride almost every weekend off-road before you go out there and really hit the streets, because most people have no idea what they're doing on the street. I've watched some terrible riders on the street, and they all want to learn how to do a wheelie. I had so many people loop out when I was racing, doing illegal street racing. So many people looped out because they had no experience and they were trying to learn how to wheelie. That was their thing. Well, you can gain a lot more skill by riding a dirt bike. Makes it a lot safer for you on the street. I would say if you really wanted something that's street legal though, and you could take on these trails, XT 250, that's what I would buy. If you want something that can do highway speed, DRZ 400, that's the bike that I have, but it has to be the S model, which is street legal. And if you want to go full-blown adventure bike where you can't really do too many trails, but it's still good for off-roading a little bit, the KLR 650 is notoriously reliable. Kawasaki. It's like each brand made a motorcycle that is just well known across the motorcycling community as their unbreakable bike. For Suzuki, that's their DR line, the DR 650 and the DRZ 400. For the Honda line, that would be the XR models. The XR 650 can be street legal. Any of them can be street legal if you modify them. And then Kawasaki made the KLR 650, which is pretty sweet. They also made a KLR 250, if I remember right. If I forgot a famous motorcycle that has withstood the test of time, be sure to let me know. Catch you guys on the next video. Peace.
His name is Racerred. If he wasn't riding, he'd be in bed. He naps during the day. He rides his love in garage bays. Oh, he rides all night, full throttle all the time. Oh, he was born to ride. Red Racer, like, comment, and subscribe.